Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, everyone, wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to Asiisian TV. And this is the YouTube channel where we discuss all matters Asiisian spirituality. Asiisian spirituality is the Kalenjin people's way of appreciating and worshipping and understanding their creator or God. And we call God Asiis. And today I have a very interesting topic to discuss, or an issue maybe to go through. And on Saturday, one of our leaders back there in Baringo called Honorable Bishop Emeritus Jackson Kosgei, a very prolific figure, a religious leader, a politician, and an elder in his own right, an intellectual. Yeah. He spoke while attending a function in Mogotio, his backyard, also my home, and he spoke a lot of nasty things about Asiisian spirituality. And me being a serious Asiisian, I don't take such issues kindly, and I have to address them with the seriousness it deserves. First of all, Honorable Bishop Emeritus Jackson Kosgei is my neighbor. He was my pastor back there when I was still a young boy attending Full Gospel Churches of Kenya, and I really admire him on various accounts, intellectually, on matters culture, on matters politics, on matters leadership, on matters religion, on matters anthropology, on matters social sciences or social issues and everything. So he is a brilliant guy, but he is also very learned. And I'm sure what I am talking right now about Asiisian spirituality, it is not actually a very new thing to him. He is well versed with all aspects of Kalenjin history and culture. Also, he's a theologian. He probably has more than 2 degrees, probably a PhD. I'm not so sure. But what I really want to talk about today is what he said about Asiisian spirituality. He has been a pastor. He has been a religious leader. He has been very vocal on various issues. And he's also an astute politician. And politicians know how to deal with different issues when they want to tackle different issues in the society. They normally have a very unique way of dealing with it. And so today, I just want to respond to key issues that he raised, or he spoke about, or he alleges that that is Asiisian spirituality. First of all, when he was speaking, I watched the video, and maybe I will attach the video, a quick clip of it. And I just want to respond as follows. I know Asiisian spirituality is still very young. It is still very new to the Kalenjin people and everyone. Many people do not understand what Asiisian spirituality is or what Kalenjin spirituality is. And for starters, Asiisian spirituality or Kalenjin understanding and Kalenjin system of knowing and worshipping God is what we call Asiisian spirituality. Asiisian spirituality is also a core part of the Kalenjin culture. Every cultural aspect in Kalenjin has some element of revering God or worshipping God or praying to God or doing things that relates to God. And we call God Asiis. Asiis is God, and the symbol for the Kalenjin God is the sun. And so many people sort of confuse that Kalenjins used to worship the sun. Reason being, God is called Asiis in Kalenjin, and the sun is called Asiista. That means the sun is derived from the root word Asiis, which is the name of God. So that is it. That is it for the terminologies. So let's get back to what my neighbor Bishop talked about. Okay, First of all, Bishop Kosgei said that Kalenjin people are worshipping the sun. He first started by saying, I hear young people nowadays are writing things kwa mtandao, wanaandika vitu kwa mtandao. He was speaking in Kalenjin, but what he said actually is that there are some young people who wants to take the Kalenjin people back to worshipping the sun. So my problem there is worshipping the sun. I don't care whether we young people convince our parents, our grandparents, mostly our parents, to go back to worshipping God the way their forefathers used to worship God. I don't have a problem with that. The statement is okay until when he said we are taking our people back to worshipping the sun. So the issue here is that with all the knowledge that Bishop or Honorable Kosgei has, he understands that Kalenjins did not worship the sun. And that statement is very colonial. When colonialists came into Africa, they studied whatever ways we worshipped God and understood God and relate with each other, and they found that the only way is to dismantle the understanding of God. And for Kalenjins, what these people did is that they said we worship the sun, which actually is very wrong. We did not worship the sun, because the sun is just one of the totems. It's one of the creatures of God. It's one of the creations of God, Asiis. And so Kalenjins, actually, if you look at the clan system of the Kalenjin people right now, we have a clan has a totem. And a totem can be shared by many clans. Or you can say each totem represents a clan or many other clans. And so one of the totems that Kalenjin use regularly here and there across the Kalenjin communities is the sun. The sun is one of the totem. Just like elephant is a totem, just like a warthog is a totem, just like the hyena is a totem. And so how stupid could the Kalenjin people be to worship another totem? Because the sun is one of the totems. The clans using the sun as their totem is Kibasiso, Kipcheret clan, Kapsaita clan, and many other clans. And these clans are called the Soti clans. So any lady, when you meet there and says, I am Soti, just know that woman or that woman comes from a clan that uses the sun as their totem. And so the question is, how could the Kalenjin people be so naive, so ignorant, and so simplistic to worship a totem that is used by their fellow relatives? Because Kalenjins are related in many different ways using through the clans. You might, for me, one of my grandmothers is from the Soti clan, from the Kibasiso clan. Yeah, one of my uncle has married from the Kibasiso clan. Yeah, and the wife is called, she's obviously Soti, and their totem is the sun. So how can we, the Kalenjin people, be worshipping the sun? So that is just a simple question I would pose to you, to any Kalenjin who understands the clans system and the totems. Sun is one of the totems. So it's not possible that the Kalenjin people could just wake up and start worshipping a totem being used by their fellow people. What we do with the sun is that the sun is so important and it's so symbolic, it's so powerful, that the Kalenjin people identified it as a key source of energy, a key source of light, an important creature of creation that Asiis created. That everything on earth depends on the sun. And that is why the Kalenjin people pray facing east. And when we pray, we describe the attributes of God or Asiis using the attributes of the sun. We say the sun is shining, the sun provides light. So God is the provider of light. Knowing God is having better understanding of things. Light and knowledge is the same thing. We talk about the sun as when the sun is rising, it's a new day. We consider Asiis as the God of new beginnings. Yeah, there are many attributes of Asiis, and you can check one of my videos. I've done a short video about the attributes of Asiis, Asiis Chepkochor, Asiis Chevonamuni, Asiis Chevangolo, and all that. So that is one thing that Honorable Bishop Kosgei, who is also a nominated MP, yeah, under the Uda Kenya Kwanza Alliance. So that is what he said. That is one thing. The second thing he talked about is that the Kalenjin embraced Christianity in their wisdom, and so we should not question as the young people. And I want just to say that Africans did not embrace the Western religions because they liked it. No, it was because they were coerced and they were intimidated into submitting to this new religion. Remember, this new religion came with the colonialists. If the Chinese could have been here earlier than the British, we will obviously be worshipping the way the Chinese worship their God. If it were Indians who colonized us, then definitely we'll be worshipping like the Indians. So the question of saying that it was in the wisdom of our grandparents that they found it as Christianity as the best thing for them, that is very wrong, and that is very simplistic, and that is exactly what this Western education system has been propagating all along. So Bishop here, or Honorable Kosgei, was talking about our elders or our forefathers saw it fit. Yes, they saw it fit because they needed to survive. Remember, the colonialists were here, they were taking lands, they were killing everyone, they were using all manner of force to attain their objective of ruling over these lands. And so for them to take over the lands, they had to take it by force. And for us, for them to ensure that we do not retaliate after suppressing us, they needed to give us something called religion, and that is Christianity. And Christianity teaches people not to take revenge, not to revolt, to respect your leaders, to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, give government the taxes. So that is, it was a tool of just pacifying the population from revolting after maybe some few years of stability. Yeah. So our grandparents actually, to me, I consider that they had to embrace Christianity sort of so that they can enjoy or they can survive through the new system that was being established by the British colonial government. And so you could notice that those who accepted the British rule very fast or quickly ended up enjoying all the goodies that came with the colonial government. They were able to access education faster. And the way to access education, the gateway to the privileges of this colonial administration was going to church, accepting Christianity. Remember, the traditional ways of worshipping did not acknowledge foreign powers. They did not acknowledge new religion, because this new religion, these new things were coming to take over their lands. They were coming to take over their spaces, their places of worship, their animals. They were restricting so many things. They were restricting their culture. I can remember the Kalenjin people were not even allowed to undertake a very important ceremony called Sagetabeito, whereby a big ceremony is done to hand over the land to another age set. So that is an act of, it is a very symbolic thing, and the British government did not allow that to happen. And of course, the church did not want that to happen because it involved a lot of other rituals, a lot of handing over the mantle to a younger generation to take care of the territories, to take care of the lands, and to take care of the community. And so that is a very deep thing. And so the colonial government and the church, the Christianity that was being introduced, did not like those things. And because those things involved praying to God, praying to Assis, and doing other ceremonies just to prepare people that we are now handing over the protection of the land to this generation that is now active. So Kalenjin people and Africans generally did not embrace Christianity as in their own will. Maybe some people saw it as nice thing, but remember, we were being tortured, people were being killed, lands were being taken, people were being displaced from their homeland, and these people displacing the communities, the people, were very powerful. You had to survive. You had to accept the coming rule. So the issue of Kalenjins in their wisdom embrace Christianity, and so you should not question what your forefathers have already decided upon. Let me tell you one thing. We are also getting old, and we are going to make decisions that will affect future generations of our country, of our communities, of our families. And so among the decisions, among the wisdom, among the wise decisions that we are now taking is to correct some of the challenges that our forefathers faced, because they faced the risk of extinction, risk of being killed, risk of being of starving. So they had to first accept the incoming rule and then survive, and then slowly by slowly then see what is this all about. What can we take from Christianity and westernization and the new colonial government? How can we survive with it? How can we live with it? And that was it. It was not that our own spirituality or our own culture was very bad. It was only that the people who came in to take over the place, to rule over the place, they just had superior weapons and all that. And so it was just a matter of just surviving in the first instance. Our instincts as human beings is to first survive. Get food, get shelter, and then the rest can follow. Yeah? So one of the things that Bishop or Honorable Jackson Kosgei talked about very negatively, knowingly, he knows that he is speaking what is not true. He is speaking lies to the masses, but he is doing so intentionally because he wants to conceal the truth. The truth of the matter is, Christianity also offered material benefits to those who are accepting, because remember, Christianity came with colonization. And so those who accepted Christianity were obviously serving the colonial government in one way or another. And so embracing Christianity was a sure way of succeeding, because the new colonial government was being established. They needed people to work in the offices. They needed people to use the new technology, the tools, the machines that were coming in. They needed people to do various things, because Britain was so advanced by then, and Africa was not advanced. We just had beautiful lands, beautiful forests. We had land and people. And so there was a lot of value addition to be done. And so the government being established needed so many people to work with. And so there were so many benefits with working, embracing this new boss in town. And so when Bishop talks about those who embraced Christianity were more successful than those who did not, is that really a measure of wisdom? Is that really a measure to say that our African culture and spirituality was inferior? Is it to say that because accepting Christianity and benefiting from the colonial government means that the God of the colonial masters is superior than our God? I thought we are past that stage of that kind of argument by now, because currently, okay, by then people embracing Christianity, they enjoyed some benefits of education and subsequently access to more knowledge, more information, more tools, more technology, more opportunities, of course, with the colonial government. Remember, the the native, the traditional systems were already destroyed. The wealth that was already with the black people or with Africans or with Kenyans, it was already destroyed. There was no livelihood. There was no longer any source of livelihood. So the only source of livelihood was by working with the British, working under the new administration, and working within the confines of Christianity or the church. And so you can see many people during 1920s, 1910, 20, 30s, 40s, 50s, those who embraced Christianity earlier were more successful. And here, success is defined within the colonial definitions. So actually, that is not really a measure of success, because of course those who did not embrace Christianity early enough, and remember, still it was a new thing. It was not possible for everyone to just rush into Christianity. You can't rush into Christianity while your people have been killed, your relatives have been displaced, you've been displaced from your home, you're already moving around, you are living in confined spaces. How do you embrace a religion of your enemy to be successful? It wasn't easy. It was a decision that took time. For those who quickly embraced, they were, of course, favored. And so, looking at Christianity and success as something to be so much proud of during those times is not really being fair. It's being unfair to the entire population, because we understand how Christianity was established in Africa. And so another thing that I really find absurd about my honorable MP, nominated MP, is that he likened this movement or this new awakening of the Kalenjin people to start looking at how their forefathers were worshipping and try to restore it. He is likening this thing with criminal activities, or he is looking at it as or he is just educating people that, look, this kind of new understanding about the Kalenjin culture and the spirituality inherent in it is a recipe of giving criminal gangs an avenue to take over or do bad things. He even mentioned Mungiki and said we are likely to be like Mungiki. And I'm wondering, since when did worshipping God become a criminal thing? We understand religion has been misused, but remember, Asian spirituality is a spirituality. It is not a religion. It is not an organized religion whereby we meet at a place every week and pray. No. Asian spirituality is a lifestyle. It is a way of life. It is a way of daily life. It is the culture of the Kalenjin people. The culture of the Kalenjin people, when you look at it carefully, it has a lot of spiritual connotation and spiritual significance. And so likening it with the likelihood of being misused is being far-fetched. And I understand why you are talking like that. You want the government maybe to start looking at this thing as quite a risky affair. Of course, the government already knows what is Asian spirituality. They understand the culture, and we are all, most of the Kalenjins are just practicing their culture, and they are Asians whether they know it or no. And so it's nothing weird that it can create havoc or chaos. And Kosgei, knowing too well about the Kalenjin culture, is actually trying to paint a different picture from what he knows to be the truth. And I understand why. It is okay. We'll see what happens in the coming years. And another thing is that my senior elder Bishop Kosgei talked about we young people not knowing, trying to go back to things that we do not know. And I want to remind you that we've gone to school. You are not the only person learned on matters Kalenjin culture. Nowadays, if you just go to TikTok and Google Kalenjin culture, how do Kalenjin pray, you'll find a lot of information there. There are so many books now written about the Kalenjin culture. Yeah, Dr. Sambu himself wrote so many books about the Kalenjin spirituality. In fact, he's the first person to use the word Asiisian. I didn't even know. I've just been using Asiisian for a long time, not knowing that already Dr. Sambu was already using the word in his books. So you are not you cannot monopolize knowledge. You cannot say that we do not know how to pray. You gave an example of he gave an example of how women were praying and said that these young men want to go and pray like the women. And let me just clarify and maybe make you informed that we know there are many different types of prayers done by the elders, prayers done by women, prayers done in different occasions, and prayers done for different circumstances. There are prayers for cleansing, there are prayers for blessing, there are prayers that the family can pray, there are prayers that an individual can say. And so you cannot just talk to people and you cannot just stand somewhere in a crowd, in an event, and say that all these young people do not know how to pray. They want to take us somewhere that we do not know. And if you think we do not know, why don't you educate us so that we pray in the right way? Why do you want us to abandon our ways of praying God that my great-grandfather used to pray, and you want us to forget it and follow a new understanding of God, and you don't want to teach us? In fact, you should be in the forefront, teaching the young people how the Kalenjin people used to pray 1520s. In 15th century, how were Kalenjin praying to God? So, saying that simply because we do not know how to pray, so we should abandon the prayers. Why not learn how to pray? And by the way, we know how to pray. We've seen elders praying. We are always seeing that even in national celebrations, we are seeing Kalenjin elders being invited to pray. President William Ruto the Kalenjin elders have always been praying for him, giving him various blessings in different places. We've also seen the Kikuyus and other communities doing traditional prayers. So how can you say that we do not know how to pray? We have elders and we are consulting and we are always researching. And thanks to technology, we are embracing modernity, we are embracing technology, we are embracing education, because we want to understand our spirituality and also document our spirituality for posterity. And so, Honorable Bishop talking like we do not know what you are doing, that's very low of him. And so another thing is that he talked about Asians being backward. As I speak now, do I look like I'm backward? I am using technology to educate the Kalenjin people and the general public about Asian spirituality, the Kalenjin culture in its deeper sense. I am using technology to learn more about Christianity. I've done a lot of research. I've studied a lot of history about the Roman Empire, the Council of Nicaea, how the Bible was compiled, the different books. I am using technology. We are using technology. We are using AI. We are using different gadgets to learn about our culture, to document our culture, to understand language and all that. So behaving like Asians are not progressive is just being is just shooting yourself on the foot, because Asian spirituality in fact is thriving so much because of technology, and that means those who are subscribing to Asian spirituality are reading a lot, and we are not reading physical books. I'm using my laptop now to do research, to do a lot of things, to document and keep content. This is technology. This is not backwardness. And we are using technology and AI and everything else, every tool available for our advantage. So your idea of saying that Asians want to take us backward, it is impossible even to take people backwards. It's impossible because people are naturally progressive. What you are talking about is that we want to understand how our people, our forefathers, our ancestors used to worship God and live in harmony with other communities, amongst themselves, and with nature. That is what we want to understand. And once we understand that, we can now carry it forward in the current world, in the modern world, in the future world. That is very important. And understanding our past is not going to the past, because we are bound to make the same mistakes made by our forefathers if we do not understand what happened. It cannot be fair that we are practicing foreign religions and we are not documenting our own spirituality. And luckily, across Africa, when you go to the internet, there is huge content. There is a series uprising of young people talking about African spiritualities. They are talking about their culture. They are talking about the ancient civilization that started in Egypt. And so you can see that the young people are thinking differently. They are embracing technology. They are embracing knowledge. They are embracing education. And they are understanding what went wrong in the past and what spaces are we living in right now, and how can we change the future, or how can we live a better life in the future. And that is now the progressive nature of every human being. Apart from being suppressed, we are naturally progressive. Yeah. And so maybe just to wrap up is that I really didn't like what Honorable said. Being a very respected elder on matters Kalenjin culture across the Kalenjin and nominated MP, a well-educated person, I am afraid that he was not honest. But honesty is inevitable. The truth cannot be hidden for long. And Asian spirituality is an idea whose time has come. It's impossible to kill this idea. It's impossible to stop, because in every Kalenjin home, there are so many aspects of Kalenjin culture and spirituality that everyone is doing, whether knowingly or unknowingly, whether silently or openly. Many people are, of course, embracing or are looking at how we can go back to it. Of course, many people are appreciating Asian spirituality, but they are not talking so much about it. So for us who are not afraid to talk about these things, we'll keep on talking, and we don't give a damn about anything. After all, we have the right to worship. It is who we are. I cannot be a German. I am a Kalenjin. I am a Kenyan. I am an African. And then I am a citizen of this world. And so if how we worship God worked before, then I don't have a reason to abandon that understanding of our Creator and embrace another one, while those other ones are not embracing ours. So guys, I want to just say thank you so much for keeping it here. We'll keep on discussing these things, and we'll keep on educating one another. And we are not going to take propaganda lightly. We are going to deal with it properly. I know some people will try to politicize, but the good thing is, if you're a Kalenjin, you are just an Asian. If you still practice the basic forms of Kalenjin culture, like naming your child, giving him or her the name of your forefathers, a name within your clan, then you are an Asian. If you still take your kids for initiation, then you are an Asian, because initiating boys is not a Western thing. It's a Kalenjin thing. We are doing it because our forefathers used to do it. Yeah, if you are doing the traditional wedding ceremony called Goito, then you are practicing Asian spirituality or culture. That's it. The Kalenjin culture is the spirituality of the Kalenjin people. You cannot divorce the two. Like, practicing the Kalenjin culture is actually another way of worshiping God. It's a way of worshiping and appreciating the Creator called Asiis. It's only that we've combined it with different aspects of westernization and all that. But if you look keenly, Kalenjins are still Asians. That's what I have noticed. So for our Christian brothers, we don't have a problem. The problem comes in when we start comparing or explaining why we are looking at going back to Asian spirituality. That is where so many people find it hard to understand. How comes? Don't you believe in God? It's like God never existed before Mzungu arrived here in Kenya. It's very absurd. So those are the questions and the debates and the emotions that fly around when such debates come around. But no problem. Let people argue, let people debate. With the time will come at an equilibrium, and then we'll see what we can do about it. But for us who've done a lot of learning around, we already know and appreciate that the Kalenjin culture and Asiis was just sufficient. Right now we have education, everyone can access education. So matters of believing in God or different religions does not really matter. It does not really matter. It will not hinder anyone from progressing. Whether you are an atheist, whether you are an Asian, you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, and everything. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. Until we meet another time, remember to subscribe. And I'm doing this video in good faith and with due respect, but we are not mincing our words on matters Asian spirituality. See you.